All right, guys, it's Alex from Reps and Riffs. I'm kind of excited about this video today. Went and trained chest this morning, and I thought, you know what, dude? I'm gonna fucking make the chest video today. I want to talk about how I design my chest workouts. I throw triceps in there as well, and why I design them that way. So, the first thing I do on chest day is I get in there and I warm up real good. My first exercise is gonna be a cable press that resembles a decline dumbbell press, like a slight decline dumbbell press. So that's the exercise that I warm up on as well. I'll just do it really light. I'll do maybe 2 sets with only 50 pounds on each side and just go real slow, make sure nothing hurts, everything feels good, until everything moves nice and loosely. Warming up is very important. That's how I start every exercise. Warm up for at least 10 minutes until I'm feeling pretty good, got a little bit of a sweat going. And then what I'll do is I jump right into my heavy compound exercises. So my first one, I stay right there because it, like I said, it resembles a decline dumbbell press, and it actually feels really good. So I get an adjustable bench and I set it up in the middle of like a close cable, and I put the cables about shoulder height on both sides so that I can kind of press in and down. I'll show you guys a video of it when I go and start doing all my actual in the gym training videos, and you'll understand what I'm talking about a little bit better. But since I started doing that, that has become my #1 absolute favorite chest exercise. It feels so fucking good, dude. My chest would be fucking burning doing that shit. And it doesn't put a lot of stress on my shoulders. It doesn't hurt at all. It feels very fucking bueno. So that's what I'll do first. And I'll go from the 50 pounds that I warmed up with, I'll jump that up to like 100 pounds on each side and see how that feels. Usually that feels pretty good. I'll go up to like 150 pounds from there on each side, and I'll do anywhere from 10 to 12 reps with that pretty smoothly on the first go around, on my first set. I'll usually do about 8 or 10 sets total. So I'll do about 2 or 3 sets at 150 pounds on each side until I'm really only getting like 6 to 8 clean reps out of it. And then I'll drop the weight back down to 100 pounds. And I'll probably do about 3 sets there as well until the same thing happens. I'm only getting about 6 to 8 good reps out of it. And then I'll go back down to 50 pounds on each side again, where it's nice and light and feels good. And I'll just go slow and controlled, make sure I'm getting a really good contraction on those. And then the next exercise after that's done, like I said, I'll get about 8 to 10 sets of that total. 3 heavy sets, 3 slightly lighter sets, and then maybe 2 light sets after that. And then from there, I leave it the same thing, but I put the cables all the way down on the ground and do like, I don't know what people call them, like scoops kind of for your upper chest. Those feel really good too on that because you're stuck on the bench, right? You can't move and the cable's pulling back, and you can really get a good contraction in your upper chest. You get a good contraction doing the first exercise I talked about too, as long as you go all the way through and feel it all the way into your chest, sit down into it, push it all the way out, right? But the second one, I like to isolate my upper chest a little bit on that one because it feels really good. I'll do the same thing there basically. I'll do like 3 heavy sets. It's lighter obviously because I can't move as much weight with just my upper pec, right? So I'll go up to like maybe 80 pounds on each side for about 10 reps, 10 to 12 reps. And then I'll go down to like 60 and then down to like 40. And I'll get about 8 to 10 sets total on that as well. And I'm staying in compound exercises. I'm moving to another one where I do like a slight decline barbell bench press, but I do it on a Smith machine. The reason I do this on a Smith machine is because a free barbell fucking hurts my shoulder bad. I don't know why, but every time I try to do it, even if I only do 135 pounds for 15 reps, just as a warm up, my shoulder will be fucking wrecked the next day. But I found that if I get on a Smith machine and do it, it doesn't fucking hurt at all. I can find the right path, feels great. So what I'll do is I'll take that adjustable bench over to a Smith machine, I'll set it up like it's flat, and I'll throw a 25-pound plate under the foot. So it's like a slight decline. I learned that from John Meadows. John Meadows was a good dude. He knew a lot of things and I learned a lot of stuff from him. That's one of those things that I use a lot. So it'll be like a slight decline, and I'll do the same thing. I'll do like a really light set, you know, maybe 135 to see how I'm feeling, how it feels. If everything feels good, then I'll bump up the weight to like 225. Probably get 15 for that, something like that. Maybe I'll do 2 sets there, and I'll go up to like 275, 305, somewhere in there. And I'll do 3 sets heavy like that until I'm only getting about 6 to 8 reps out of it, same as before. And then I'll go down to 225 again, same thing, 3 sets until I'm only getting about 6 to 8 reps. And then I'll go down again to 135 and go light again, just like I did on the other exercise. And then I go to incline bench press. Same spot on the Smith machine, raise the back of the bench up so it's incline, do the same exact thing that I said before. Kind of light, make sure it feels good, go up to heavy, go up a little heavier, do 3, come down, and then come down again. I basically do that for every one of my heavy compound exercises on every one of my days, back day, shoulder day, all that. That's kind of how I do my heavy compounds. I find that I can get a pretty good exercise in if I do that. It feels really nice. And then after that, that's all my heavy compounds. That's all I do for chest. It's kind of like 4 exercises, but it's more like 2, right? Because I do the cable press where it's kind of like a decline, and then I do the incline. Those are kind of the same in my opinion. I kind of look at that as one exercise. And then I go over to the Smith machine and I just look at everything I do on the Smith machine as like one exercise too. So it's anywhere from 16 to 20 sets on both of those heavy compound exercises. And then I go to a stretch exercise. And what I do for that is I go back to the same close cable with no bench, and I just do your standard high cable crossovers. I don't actually cross my arms. I just bring them in, bring my elbows as close as I can, and let it back. And it's really important to get a good stretch on these stretch exercises that I talk about. So a lot of the time what I see people doing is, especially on this exercise in particular, they'll bring their arm back, and about right here, my pec is stretched out as much as it can. It will not stretch out any more than that. But a lot of people want to do this thing and let their arm go back here because they're thinking they're getting a better stretch. They're getting, a better range of motion. You're not. You're not getting any more out of this. All you're doing is putting a bunch of stretch on your shoulder and asking for an injury. I mean, even just doing this right here kind of hurts. It doesn't feel good. So what you want to do is find your range from here to where it's stretched out at the max, and then come back down into it. Bring your elbows as close together as you can. And just really focus on getting a good stretch, pause in the stretch, and come back down. You want to do that on all of your stretch exercises I talk about. The stretch is really important. And I'll do about 6 sets of that. I do it kind of light. I make sure I can really, really control the weight well. You don't obviously want to throw a ton of weight on there and then let it stretch out really hard, because then you're just going to tear something, right? So don't go super heavy. Keep it in like the 12 to 15 rep range. Make sure everything feels really good. Make sure you get yourself nice and stretched out. And then after I'm done stretching, I switch over to triceps. Triceps is pretty standard. I kind of go for the same idea. I just do kind of a quick version of it, like the compound stretch overload thing. But what I do is I do just your standard rope push downs. I do about 6 sets of those. Make sure they're really controlled, they feel good, but you also want to go heavy. See, heavy is relevant though. So you can't go super heavy and fucking be throwing the weight around. You want to make sure that your tricep is doing the work. So you might find that when you're really focusing on your tricep doing the work in that movement, once you learn how to do it right, you're going to have to lower the weight. I do like max 120 pounds on there, and I can only get like 12 solid reps for that. So that's what I do. I do rope push downs. I'll do about 6 sets of that. The first 4 I'll just do standard. And then on the 5th and 6th set, what I'll do is I'll do as many as I can, 12 to 15 good solid reps. And when I can't do full reps anymore, I'll do partials at the bottom until I feel like my arms are gonna fucking explode. And I literally cannot move anymore until I'm locked up and my fucking arms will not move down anymore. And I do that for my last 2 sets. And then I move on to single tricep extensions. I learned these from fucking Big Mike Van Wyck, and if you don't know who that is, you need to fucking follow that guy and start watching his channel, because he will absolutely help you move better in the gym and feel all of your exercises much better. That's why I learned how to train chest. It's how I learned how to train my triceps better. Dude knows a lot, and it's a good watch, so check him out. But what I do is I'll set up the same cable, I'll tie a knot in it so I can grab it with one hand, and I lean over it. And flex out like this. So the cable is this way, right? And I let it pull me in, and I flex out like this. and I'll do about 6 sets on each side of that. And the last 2 sets I do the same thing. Or if once I can't go down anymore and I'm only getting this much, I'll just fucking do as many as I can until I'm literally stuck like this and can't move anymore for the last 2 sets. And then the last thing I do there to get a good stretch is I'll flip around and do overhead with that same rope attachment. And I'll really let it pull down real hard on my triceps and then flex out. Make sure you're getting a nice good stretch. Go kind of light. Obviously you don't want to go super heavy because it puts a lot of stress on your elbows and stuff, but you just want to really focus on getting a good stretch in your tricep. And then from there I go to my overload portion. So we've already done our warm-up, our heavy compounds, and we've got a stretch in on both our pecs and our triceps by now, right? So now what I do is I go to my overload portion, which is going to be the end of my workout. So what I'll do for chest is I'll go to like the hammer strength machine or any plate loaded press that you feel really well, that you connect with well, and put, lightweight on there, something you can probably get for 20 reps, and do 20 reps, and then do as many partials as you can until you can't do any more, and you're stuck. And do about 4 sets just like that. All the way through till you can't do it anymore, and then partials until you can't move anymore. Do at least 4 sets of that. And then I'll move to triceps and I'll overload them. The point of overloading is just to get a bunch of blood in there at the end, kind of kickstart the recovery process. That's why I like to do, a lot of reps, right? That's why I go to like 20 and then do partials after that, because that's going to pump a ton of blood into your pecs. It's going to feel crazy. And then I go to like a triceps machine. I've seen these in most gyms. It's just a machine where you set your arms on a pad and push the weight down like this. They're usually plate loaded or sometimes they're pin loaded, whatever. But I go to one of those because I don't have to focus on my range or like where my elbows are. All I have to do is fucking this. And what I'll do is I'll go pretty heavy for the first set. I just do one gnarly ass drop set. And I'll go pretty heavy for the first portion of it, say like 100 pounds. Maybe I can get 12 reps out of that, 10, 12 solid reps out of that. And I'll drop it to 80 pounds and do as many as I can, 60 pounds, as many as I can, 40, as many as I can. And by the time you're done with that, 40 pounds feels like a fucking 1,000 pounds and your fucking triceps are fucking burning, dude. It feels insane. But that's the end of my workout. That's what I do right there. It's not a whole lot. I warm up. I do 2, technically 4 heavy compound exercises. That's where I get most of my work done. That's where I really beat the fuck out of myself and make sure I'm moving a lot of heavy weight, but also controlled, right? And then I go to stretch exercises. That's where I do like the crossovers, really let my pecs stretch out. When I'm doing triceps, I kind of incorporate all that into one. So like I do the rope push downs where I'm kind of overloading a little bit at the end, like I said. The singles where I'm kind of overloading a little bit at the end, and then a really good stretch. And then I go and just totally overload both of them with the plate loaded press and the triceps machine. And that's it. Typically at the end of my workouts, I'll go do, 4 to 5 sets, really brutal sets on like a donkey calf raise or a seated calf raise. I kind of alternate between the two at the end of my workouts because my calves are fucking small and I don't like it, right? You can train calves every day. That's something we'll talk about when I get to leg day, but that's pretty much it, man. That's what my chest and triceps days look like. It's pretty rough, but it works. It's effective. It feels great. I don't have any pain afterwards. Very mild soreness, nothing that's like really, really intense. And most of that honestly comes from the stretch. That's where a lot of your soreness comes from. And I feel pretty good after that. I feel nice and strong and I'm recovering well doing that. And I've actually noticed a lot of pec growth in the last 6 months since I started training this way. It really helps a lot. So I hope you guys like that. If you want to try that exercise, that chest exercise, that day out, I'll go ahead and I'll write the entire thing out in the description so you can see it and you can try it for yourself. As always, like and subscribe, follow us on all our socials, buy yourself some badass gear. We got supplements, check it out, get riffed.